Hey, welcome to my channel. I am Dr. Shareece, and I've been working on having a marriage mindset for a while now. So I've been doing a lot of research, reading a lot of books, listening to married women talk about what their marriage is like, some of the problems that they've had. But I've also listened to women who are divorced tell their divorce story and explain why they think their marriage ended and what they could have done differently in terms of in the marriage or even just picking the person. And I thought of some things that I've learned that I feel like I've applied in my process of picking the right person. Number one is heal my trauma so that I can learn to trust my intuition and have clarity about the person that I choose. And I love dating advice that does like self-development advice because we're only going to be able to pick someone who's a reflection of whatever state we're at that point in time. So if you're working on yourself, you're probably going to pick somebody who's working on themselves. If you have a lot of blind spots, you're probably going to pick somebody who has a lot of blind spots. And so a lot of my work, like mostly in my 20s in healing from my trauma from childhood and all that stuff has been focused on like, how can I thrive? And I feel like that's the best position to put yourself in when looking for a partner. Because if I'm happy with life, I'm probably going to pick somebody who's happy with their life. And so we can be happy together. So I definitely recommend people doing the shadow work, the healing work, the prayer, the meditation, so that they can understand what their blind spots are. I think doing the healing work really means looking at what your triggers are and healing whatever past so that you can forgive yourself, forgive other people, so you can move on with your life and do whatever it is that you really want to be doing with the person that you really want to be doing it with. The second thing I learned is to keep getting my money right. In so many of the divorce stories, money was a really big part of the problems, whether it was the man having a lot of money and paying for everything and controlling access to the money, or women making financial decisions, but looking like relationship decisions, but picking men based on finances. Not so much the actual person, but a lot of decisions being made because there was financial insecurity. So I have, been working on like money mindset for a long time now. I want to say maybe when I was 27, I started getting into like life insurance and learning about money habitudes and emotions towards money and really understanding how does money work. And this year I spent a lot of time, not really a lot, but I spent some time understanding stocks, right? Like, how do stocks work? Like, why do they exist? And what would it look like if I invested in the stock market? And so I think it's very, very important because we're in 2024, 2025. It is so helpful to understand how money works and for women to have their own independence finances, because for such a long time, women did not have access to any finances. It's really one of the deciding factors in whether women stay in a relationship or not. Like, if they don't have money, right? Men have an advantage in our society, so they're likely going to have money. I just think it's super smart for me to make sure that even though, I don't work like full-time hours, but even though I don't work a lot, I still am in a financial place where I don't need a man to come into my life and save me financially. Yes, I want a man who can provide, but if he's doing something that would mean I need to end the relationship, I don't have to stay for any extended period of time because I have my own, right? I definitely am on the team of people who say women need to have their own, bank account. Wives need to have their own emergency fund because you never know if something might happen. And, death is one thing, but also a man acting crazy and abusive is another thing, but also people dying. Like, there's all sorts of reasons why I think it's really smart for women to be financially secure. I'm not saying you need to be a millionaire. I'm not a millionaire. But to be financially in a place where if you have your Vex money, you can go, you don't have to stay, you can really make smart decisions for yourself, like healthy decisions about what you want your life to look like without needing a man for his money. My number 3 is getting to know myself, my likes, dislikes, my hopes and dreams, like the things that are going to help me thrive. And one of my favorite questions to ask myself and to encourage other people around me to ask is, what do I want? Like, what do I want now? I think it's so important for people to recognize that even though society tells us we're supposed to be a wife and a mom, that you may not want those things. And even if you do want those things, it would be very helpful for yourself to not just do it on autopilot, but to really pause and ask yourself, wait, do I want to get married? Like, do I want to be a wife? Like, you understand what that means? Do I want to be a mother? Do I want to have a kid, multiple kids? Is that something I really want? So just pause and ask yourself if that's what you really want. So then you can say yes or no to it consciously. But at the same time, so many of the women that I listen to and I've talked to, talk about like not really being in sync with their partner and not really understanding themselves or having gotten to know themselves to be able to share that with their partner. So it's kind of like their personality became wife. Their personality became whatever their husband was. And I think, in the beginning, like in your 20s, if you get married before you know yourself, or even if you're in your 30s or 40s, you don't know yourself. In the beginning of the relationship, this can feel okay, I suppose. But the more you're exposed to the sureness of somebody else, because men are often very sure about what they want to do because they've been given so much permission and freedom to just choose and do whatever they want. Like they get so much feedback from society that says, you can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want with your career. You can do whatever you want with women. Like you can do whatever you want. And women often are told that we need to be in service to men. So that doesn't come as natural to us to really reflect on what it is that we want. What do we want our life to be like? Like, what's our favorite food? Like, what's your favorite of anything? A lot of women have not stopped to think, like, do I want this career? Or did somebody along the way tell me I would be good at this? And so I just kind of went into this. Or did somebody tell me I was supposed to be a lawyer or a doctor? And so I just kind of did it. There's no real passion for it. And you don't necessarily have to have a passion for work. But for people who have never thought about what they really want from life, when you are partnered with somebody who knows what they want, eventually you are either going to become resentful or more aware that you have no likes. Like you just kind of go with whatever the people around you want because it's rarely something that's only done in the romantic relationship. Often women are just kind of going along with whatever is around them instead of saying, wait, I want this or I want that or I don't want any of that. Being very clear on what it is you like, what you don't like, what you want to do with your life, what you want your day to day to look like. I've spent a lot of time, and you can see on my channel, like I have some vlogs where it's very clear what I like. I know exactly what I like. I know what I want my life to look like. I know what I want my lifestyle to be like. And I've created that for myself. I also think that's pretty important too. Like, can you create this lifestyle that you want? Or are you looking for somebody to come and do it all for you? My number 4 is learn what marriage is actually like, right? So I have a playlist on my channel about marriage prep. It's a lot about understanding like what even is the covenant of marriage. What was marriage biblically supposed to do, is supposed to do. I'm not Christian, although I push back on this every time I say it, like in the last month or so. But I love the way Christianity supports marriages, and I like the way that the Bible talks about being equally yoked and a wife submitted to her husband and her husband submitted to God. Like I like all of that stuff, like real resonating with me. And so when I have a praying man, a man who's led by God, and I just believe in God, I'm just like, ooh, God is a part of this union. I just think it's really important to understand that marriage can be very difficult, right? Partnering with another person can be challenging in so many ways because they see things you don't see. They are going to trigger points in you that you didn't even know existed. And so having this framework of marriage, understanding what it was there for, understanding how other people can support you in the marriage, understanding how you all are stronger together, I think is very helpful. But marriage takes work. I don't think it's supposed to be hard. I don't know if hard is the right word, but we're looking for a relationship that feels pretty good most of the time, that has a flow, has an ease about it for most of the time. You all are going to disagree, right? I expect to not agree on everything. I'm not partnering with the same person that I am. So we're going to disagree on some things, but what is the conflict resolution like? What is the dream of our life together looking like? How do we communicate those things with each other? What are our beliefs about money and sex and all the really big important things that often lead to the end of a marriage? What does respect look like? How do we love each other? How do we receive love? Like all those things I think go into the sort of complications of marriage that can make it a really challenging thing, but that is so satisfying. I don't know, right? I'm not married yet, but can be so, I'm just thinking about married women that I've listened to when they talk about how difficult at times it can be to be married and how, their partner can do annoying things. By the end of the day, this union is so worth it. Like having my person, having my wife, husband to do life with is worth all of the minor difficulties or disagreements that we may have. And my number 5 that I learned is marry the right person. I want to say this is probably like in the top 1 or 2 reasons why a lot of women get divorced, because They were never supposed to be with a man anyway. It is so clear in their description of the first 3 months of what their relationship was like, or what it was like when they first met this person. Why did it progress even more? You should have ended things with him after the first date, or after the first 3 months, or after the first 6 months. You were not supposed to carry on and then go and marry this man. So I reflect deeply on making sure I marry the right person. I've done what have I done? I read the book Calling in the One. I've had like 2 lists of, qualities I need in a man before I read that book. That book opened me up so much to love in all of its forms and helped me dive deeper into not just romantic love, but familial love, friendship love, love for my son, love for the plants. Like I just saw love in a slightly different way after reading that book and like doing a lot of the exercises to reflect on like, what woman do I want to be? Like, who am I? What am I going to bring to this relationship? Who am I going to be as a wife? And then how can I pick a person that complements me in a way that our union makes sense and can stand the test of time? So there's definitely a number of things that I was very clear on that I needed in a relationship. Like some of these women are talking about men who avoid conflict, men who avoid conversation, men who are abusive, men who control and manipulate, especially with money, men who are dependents, and a lot of them sticking around for another year or 2 or 3 or more because they worshiped marriage themselves. They were afraid of being single. And then the big one, right? The financial reasons of staying in the relationship. So picking the right person, because I've known for a long time, I think I realized this in college. The person that you pick to be your partner, your life partner, the person you do life with, is one of the most important decisions you will ever make. And so I, for a long time, right, for over a decade now, I have taken this seriously. I've been engaged, right? I could have been married. I could have been married. This is not about being married. This is about really having the right person by my side that I want to do life with, that we can carry on and have fun. And even if I don't feel like being around you, I want to be around you. Even if we have a conflict, like I'm sticking beside you. Like this is the person I want to make sure I picked. And so I've just done a lot of work in therapy and reading and praying to God and doing all the things to make sure that the person that I pick is in line with my values, right? My values and the way I want to live my life, which is God-centered, right? I am a kind and loving person. I go out into the world like this. I want goodness and greatness from myself and the people around me. I give grace to people who are having a hard time. And I want the same from my partner. I really want us to have this union that does more than just, have love, right? I think love is great, but I also want us to serve a greater function and provide something bigger than ourselves to the people in our community. So this is what I learned from the people I'm divorce. And I think it's really put me in a better place, a really good understanding of what marriage entails. I know that I don't really know what it's like until I'm in it. And one day I'll be in it. So I feel like I'm really, really prepared for marriage and like a long lasting, happy, healthy union. Let me know what you think in the comments. Please give this video a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. And thank you for watching.